Hey everybody, Ginger here. Welcome to At the Table. I happen to be at my desk today, and there's a table there. There's a little table there. It's actually a music stand. Glad you're here with me today. At the Table is a program live shown, recorded, living on YouTube after the fact, about connection. Why are we better people at the table? Because we are. Today, I want to share a whole bunch of ideas, the ZYXs of connecting, a whole bunch of ideas, practices, tactics, tools, ways of thinking of how you can better connect. So you choose what is useful for you and leave the rest. Marie Forleo, one of my favorite coaches, says, use what's useful, leave the rest. Right on, Marie. She's so right. So take what's useful, leave the rest. I will provide a copy of the ZYXs of connecting for everybody who showed up live today. And if you are watching the recording and you want your own, you can go to gingerjohnson.com/subscribe and get the copy that way. That brings you into our newsletter community, and then you have your own. So thanks for being here. Thanks, Roz. Scott, it's good to see you here live today. So good. Really appreciate it. Karen Berry, woo, in the house is so good. All right, ZYXs of connecting, my friends. Again, if you're here live, you're going to get a copy of the ZYXs. I'll send it to you after the fact. Oh my gosh, so good. Oh, I love this. Scott, I'm coming back to Nebraska next week too. Indeed. All right, Karen, we should catch up. Roz, oh, so good to see you. Going to be back in Nebraska. I know I got to record it. Okay. I'm texting you, my friend. All right, ZYXs of connecting. The ABCs get all the headlines. So I thought we'd turn it upside down and go with the Z first. When we think of Z, I like to think of, well, what a perfect example, Zoom. Now, well before Zoom was verbed and used on an everyday basis, I use the term Zoom to think about how I was engaging in life, what was going on, the zoom out view of what's happening and what do I want it to be and what does it look like and what's possible. And then as we zoom in, we get close, we can examine something differently when we have a tighter view of something. What is that? So Zoom, while it's a popular culture word now because of the fabulous company that helps us connect across the globe, it's also the idea of taking a big view as well as a small examination. So that's the Z, kicks us off with the ZYXs of connecting. The second letter, of course, in the alphabet from the Z angle is Y. Oh, one of my all-time favorite words. Ready for it? Yes. Yes, my friends. Yes is such a great word. There is one word, my favorite, the very, very best. It isn't no or maybe. It's yes, 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 yes. That's not my poem. I learned it years ago when I was in college. I just really love yes. It's laden with potential. It's powerful because it's additive. Yes. So good. Use yes often. Figure out not necessarily how to get to yes, figure out how yes can propel, how yes can clarify, can weed out, can focus your mad skills, making the life that you want better. Yes. Zoom. Yes. Let's get to X. This is always a challenge, isn't it? I'm not in the medical industry, so it won't be X-ray. I'd like to fudge a little bit with examine, but I'm going to use Excel. Yes, there's an E before it, unless you're the document company, and that's not me. When we think about excelling, it's actually a third part of my growth model. That's on my website if you're curious about all four parts. But to excel, being the root word of excellence, is to get in motion. It is momentum. It's power. It's not force. It's power forward. To excel is to be in the mindset of excellence. That's where connectors live. That's where you live. That's where I live. If we want to be excellent, we need to focus on the excel first. So with a little bit of help from the letter E, like Sesame Street, we're going to use excel for the X word. ZYXs of connecting here on At the Table. So glad you're with us if you're here live. So glad you're here if you're watching this recorded. And if you want to share this with anybody, Please do. Go for it. The best information is applied and shared. Have at it. I'm always grateful. W, willingness. Oh, willingness. Willingness is one of the core 3 elements of the connector's mindset. In my book, The Connectivity Canon, I talk about the connector's mindset, and it involves 3 things: positive, objective, and willing. Now, I'm betting that all of you understand how powerfully useful, productive, gratifying being willing is. It's a top characteristic, trait, practice. I'm not even sure what the right word is for this one, for people who are looking for other great people. You got to be willing, right? That's saying, well, God willing, and the rain falls down. Okay, yes, we could all use a little more rain, most of us. But the willingness is really the key to saying, hey, I'm open. I am willing to try this. I'm willing to think about this. It's different than being open-minded. To be willing, that holds some really good juice. Put that in your cup at the table. Take a big old swig. Oof. Willingness. So we got Zoom, yes. Excel, willingness. Now we get to the letter V. Do you have a favorite V word? There's some goodies out there. As a word nerd, we could go down a lot of paths. With the letter V today, I'm going to focus on VERT, V-E-R-T. Now, what prefix do we often put in front of VERT? We put extra, we put intro, we put amber. VERT itself, though, literally means to turn. I had to look this up one day, everyone, because I hear so much about introversion and extroversion. Here went my earrings, that I thought, I need to look this up. I need to find out where we're running around in our minds when we identify ourselves as an introvert, as an extrovert, when we call somebody else, oh, they're an introvert, oh, they're an extrovert, like it's some sort of pass or permission slip, or even a negative. Well, let's get to the root of this. To vert literally means to turn. So when we think about how we self-identify, by all means, self-identify how you self-identify. Be aware that we don't want to be limited by labels, though. To use one vert, if I said Karen Berry is an extrovert, well, she's got some mad skills. I've been in the room able to teach with her several years ago. I'm like, wow, yeah. And I would bet dimes to donuts that there are times where Karen says, you know what, I need to be me and I need to be introverted. Here's the shift. If we think of ourselves as spective instead of verted, how does that change things? Let's be introspective. Let's be I don't even know if extrospective is a word, but it sounds good. And if we reflect, then we really realize that we're all made up of all kinds of different facets. So when we turn, where are we turning? So the letter V today with the ZY X's of connection is vert. I call it the vert status. It's kind of a little bit of a flag for me. We'll go into that another time. So today it's vert. Z, Y, X, W, V, U. I've gotten really good at the alphabet backwards. The letter U, again, so many great words. I love the word unify. To unify actually brings in some of the words I've already shared. To unify is to be willing and say, hey, I'm going to do that thing with Roz. I'm going to pay attention to what Scott has to say. Kim's got some good things. I want to learn about that. So I want to unify around an idea, a cause, a purpose, a mission. I want to connect and unify, because when we do connect with a unified idea for a unified vision, purpose, we are stronger and better. Does it mean that we all have the same opinion? Does it mean that it's consensus? Does it mean that we're like-minded? No, thankfully so. But when we unify, we say, We're all going after that same North Star. That's the power of unification. We need diversity within unification. And when we unify, oof, that's when our species is at our best. When we unify around something with meaning and purpose, with depth, something that connects with our heart, our head, our guts, that's what unify can mean for us, propelling all of us forward in a positive way. So the letter U, ZYXs of connecting. So glad you're here. Thank you so much. If you have any comments or suggestions, put them in the comments if you're here, put them in the chat rather if you're here live, put them in the comments below if you're watching the recording. I would love to know what words you love in going through the alphabet too. And I don't care what order they're in, doesn't matter. There's 26 of them, mix them up however you want. All right, Z, Y, X, W, V, U. Next is T. T, the letter T. T today and most days for me is my focus. It's my goal in the work that I do. It's how I want to serve. T today stands for transformation. To transform literally means to change form. I like the word transformation because it connotes some sort of deep shift. Now, depth can be a puddle, depth can be Lake Titicaca. It's up to you how you want that depth to resonate. Transformation can be something as simple as seeing something new on the shelf at the grocery store or the farmer's market and say, oh, yeah, I like strawberry jam. I'm going to try that one. You open it, I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. I do. If you like strawberry jam, let me know. I love strawberry jam. That's a simple and still purposeful example. Maybe you are part of an exercise, growth, development, professional development. Maybe you get the gift of being in one of Roz's classes, because I know she's a world-class teacher as well. That can be transformational in a whole different way. Like, wow, she just gave me something completely different to think about, or a different way to think about something, a new angle, patina, style. And sometimes we like the transformational offering and sometimes we don't. Why is that? Because sometimes it's something that's very unfamiliar, feels perhaps unsafe, don't know what to do with it, feels like we cross our arms and say, I don't want to hear this today. You decide how you welcome transformation yourself, just like I do. Like my friend Mike Sansoni says, change is coming anyway. Might as well open up your arms and give it a hug. I like that. Here it comes. That's what transformation is. It's change. I like the word growth. I love the word transformation. So that's our T word today for the ZYXs of connecting. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T. S is next. S is next. S, when something resonates, when something is meaningful, when we let something roll around in our gray matter, it's sticky. So we're going to use the word sticky in the best possible way today for the letter S. When an idea, a practice, a connection is sticky, it means there's something adhesive to it. There's something that we want to think about. Why is this a connection? Why does this stick? It's more than spaghetti thrown at the wall. That makes a mess and the wall's hard to clean. And when we think about practices, ideas, people, what are those for you? And why are they sticky? Do we need to unstick some? Could we? Sure. Do we need to stick some? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What are those for you? I think one of the best gifts of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, whenever you're watching this, is that we've gotten, hopefully you have too, got a lot more clarity on what is good sticky in our lives. What can we thin out? What can we winnow? What can we recycle? What can we put on the compost heap, including relationships? including belongings. Everything is in there. What's sticky to me means that it's additive. Something is going on and I'm thinking about it. It's sticky. So that's the word we're going to use for S today for the ZYXs of connecting. Again, if you got a word you love, go ahead and put it in the chat, put it in the comments below. Would love to know. As a word nerd, I'm always interested in great words and what you think about them. Before letter S is the letter R. Did you know that the number one trait that board of directors look for in CEOs starts with the letter R? This comes from the book CEO Next Door from my friend Eric Parker, who shared the book with me. I read it. And the letter R, the one that the board's looking for, is reliable. Are we reliable? Are we going to do what we say? Are we going to walk the talk? And are we also going to talk the walk? Like, what is that ecosystem for us? Are we reliable? Do we show up when we say we're going to show up? And if we are unable to show up or some hiccup comes up, do we still make sure that we reliably communicate, that we respect? What is the reliability? Because the ability to be reliable, that's what reliability is. What is that for you? What is that for me? What is that for anybody? And why is reliability importante? Well, we like to be able to count on people, ourselves first and foremost. So reliability is the R word today for the ZYXs of connecting. All right, Z, Y, X, W, V, U. Yep, still getting it right. S, R, Q, 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 Q. It's more than a character on the James Bond. The letter Q taps into what I call a super skill of connectors, and that is questions. To ask questions is to be actively curious. To be actively curious is to be a connector, because when we are curious, we literally don't have the space in our brain to think of something else. Anytime we're focused on a particular way of thinking, that's what our focus is. Now, this seems really perhaps redundant in our thinking. At the same time, we can't have more than one conversation at a time. We literally cannot. When we put curiosity in our brain, when we start asking questions, what we do is we start fueling, we start building, because we might say, hey, Rebecca, I got a question about this. Would you be willing to tell me about X, Y, and Z? There's lots of ways to ask questions, y'all. To literally start it with some of the journalistic prompts of who, what, why, where, when, how, and which. Those are great. And another tactic is tell me more. Tell me about. What if? What do you think about? There's so many ways to ask productive, meaningful questions that fuel a conversation, that fuel a connection. If we ask more questions, we'd be a better species. When we ask questions, that tells the other person, the other people, that we are interested in what they think. And that is key and core to connection, to be interested and not worry about being interesting. We'll get there. Our own favorite topic is usually ourselves, and that's okay. And it's even better when we're more curious about the other person. So Q, question, that's the word for the letter Q here today on the ZYXs of connecting. Before Q comes P. It's the starter of the connector's mindset. If you remember it, it was positive. Letter P. To be positive is to look at the sunny side. It's not about being a Pollyanna, which is another great P word. It's about being realistic about what's possible. Another great P word. What is possible? One of my mantras is everything is possible. I truly believe that. I don't mean resurrecting people from the dead. I mean thinking about what's possible in the future. What is possible is always so much more powerful than what isn't possible. It's all mindset. Before P comes O, it's the middle part of the connector's mindset, which is objective. Positive, objective, and willing. That's the connector's mindset. It's in the book. If you have the book, perhaps you know this. If you don't have the book, you can order your book at my website, gingerjohnson.com. To be objective is to suspend judgment. Now, I invite you. Does the world need more judgment? I don't think so. I think most of us would agree that we don't. Leave that for the courtroom, leave that for the professionals. There's a difference between judgment and choice. When we are objective, we are making the choice to go in a certain direction. We don't need to denigrate. We focus on that choice and we can move, get in motion. So to be objective is to suspend judgment. I often share about my dear friend KJ. She's a lawyer, and I think the profession is noble. I truly believe that. That's hard work, my friends. I can't even imagine what it's like being in a courtroom and having those kinds of conversations with literal lives on the line. And her job is to be objective. And I'm in admiration of her and all the people who need to be objective by the nature of the profession they've chosen. Really appreciate that. Think about how we can all be more objective, suspend judgment. I catch myself on it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll find myself making some sort of thought or saying something, and I'll catch myself. I say, A, that's not kind to judge. And B, where's it going to get me? Nowhere. That just goes like this. To be objective goes like this. So I want to corkscrew up, not corkscrew down, unless it's in a bottle of wine. Keep moving. All right. So there's objective. Letter N, as in nimbility, the ability to be nimble. This one I give huge props to my friend Sarah, north of the American border in my second favorite country, Canada. Nimbility. To be nimble. Jack doesn't have the market on this one, y'all. To be nimble is to be thoughtfully flexible. What does it mean to be nimble? Well, it means that we're objective, we're positive, we're thinking, how can I excel? We're thinking, how can I help others succeed? What can I be curious about? Nimbility, it's a fun word. Say it out loud to yourself if you want to too. Nimbility, just a fun word. Maybe we need to hashtag that. But nimbility is the N word today for the ZYXs of connecting here at the table. So glad you're along for the ride. Thank you for being here. If you are at your table and you have something to drink, go ahead and take a sip. I'm going to take one right now. Absolutely. So good. I want what's ever in your cup, Scott. So let's keep going. The ZYXs of connecting at the table with Ginger. ZYX WVU T thanks SRQPON. Now we're at the letter M. I grew up in the era of Sesame Street, proudly, incidentally, totally beyond my control. I love Sesame Street, and I remember one of their "Today is brought to you by the letter M." I remember that episode. I'm going to invite you to Google that because there's things like mashed potatoes in there. The letter M today is going to focus on mindset. Mindset. How do we set our mind? How do we set our mind? The connector's mindset is the positive objective. Well, we literally set our mind on how we're going to be, on our behaviors, our actions, our thoughts. I believe mindset fuels attitude. I think they're different. I think attitude is what people see. It's the projection of our mindset, just like language is the projection of our thoughts. When we set our mind by choice to be objective, when we set our mind to be judgmental, whatever we set it at is how we will be, who we will be. And mark my words, who we will be and who we are will always be more important than what we do, because who we are drives everything. I encourage you and maybe even challenge you as you continue to meet great people in this world, like I did on a plane with Roz, to ask them, who are they? Don't ask them what they do. Get to the core of what's possible in a connection. Tell me something interesting about yourself. Tell me what lights you up. What gets you out of bed in the morning? That's mindset driven. And it's so much fun. Mindset, letter M. Let's go to L. Woo! I could give you one of these. I think that looks like a heart. And so I'm gonna roll out love. Love, I think, is both overrated and underrated. When we think of love, sometimes it's hyperbolic. Oh, I love this sandwich. Oh, I love this light. I love this and that. Okay, it's great to be excited about a lot of things, for sure. How are we using the word love and why? Do we really mean we like it? Okay, it's up to you to decide. One practice I started several years ago, thanks to a couple things, was to tell a lot more of my friends I love them. Now, this isn't for everybody, perhaps. At the same time, I think it's for a lot more people. Why did I start doing it? Because I wanted them to know. Did it feel slightly awkward a few times? Yes, it did. And what it fueled has been nothing short of magic. I have more people responding in kind, genuinely so. And if they don't, that's not why I say it. I say it because I want people to know I care about them, that they are seen, that they are valued, that they are heard. To exercise the capacity, the infinite capacity we have to love and respect, to value. Oof, whew. Again, that's us at our best. So let's use L and love for the ZYXs today. Before L comes the letter K. Kind is right on the heels of love. To be kind is free, it's simple, it's really straightforward. To be kind is to smile at someone else. Anytime I'm in an airport, I walk around with a smile on my face. People may think I'm the village idiot, and here's the bonus. The village idiot's happy. Happiness is contagious. Happiness is a choice. So in being kind, opening a door isn't about gender. It's not about being insulted if you're, well, I don't have to tell you that story. You know what I'm saying? It's about kindness. It's about respect. It's about courtesy. Be kind. How can we all be kind? What's one kind thing we can do today, all of us, to help somebody else be seen, valued, and heard? Be kind. Those bars are well named for a reason. Before K comes the letter J. Oof. The juice in J is joy. There's a lot of alliteration today, y'all. Thanks for sticking with us. To be joyful is to be full of joy. How are you sharing your fabulous self today? Because everybody here who's here live, I know you personally, you have joy that you share. Thank you for that. For all of you watching the recording, share the joy that you give, that you bring, that you have. It compounds in the best possible way when you share your joy. More people need it, more people want it. It's a craving, it's part of connection. When we are joyful, we are better people. When we're at the table with joy, remember those times? I know you've had them before. They're always the best times. We're at the table and we're all laughing so hard that it's quiet. That's joy at its best. Like, oh my gosh, so good. Be joyful. Joyful can be calm, just like it can be outwardly enthusiastic. What is the joy you bring to yourself and to others? The letter I is for intention. What is the purpose? Where are you going with that? What is the vision you want to realize? How are you going to do that? Life really, my friends, is not that hard. It's up to us to keep it sweet. When I was talking with Kim Jordan several years ago, Kim and her former husband started New Belgium Brewing. And I remember talking with Kim, and I felt different around Kim the first few times I met her, meaning that I had a really high degree of respect for her. And I didn't want to fan out, and she didn't need any more of that. I genuinely wanted to get to know her. And I remember having a conversation with her in San Diego at a brewers conference. We were walking across a courtyard and we were talking about something, and I was frustrated. And she turned to me and she said, Ginger, look, she said, life is short. It's up to me to make it sweet. I've remembered that because that's intention. That's intention. The letter H, humanity. How can we put a little more kindness into our humankind? How can we be a little more human instead of non-human? How do we share being the best of what humanity has to offer? Roz, I see your hand up. Give me a minute and we will definitely make sure you get on. Gratitude is the letter G. So many great G words. Gratitude, when we lead with gratitude, we lead with grace. We lead with generosity. So much packed into the letter G. When we focus on gratitude, when we start with gratitude, then we are better people as well. My fine husband, who I adore, who produces the show here at the table, every time we have a meal, we raise our glass and we say one thing we're grateful for. It has become our practice and it helps us reset. It helps us shift into the positive. If we're noodling on something, I'm like, gratitude, lead with gratitude. Letter F, have some fun, my friends. Make sure that fun is an integral part of what you're choosing to put forth. One of my mantras I just posted on LinkedIn was have fun or get out. Now that might seem abrupt. At the same time, have some fun. I remember being in the room with you, Karen. I remember being in the room with you, Scott. And both of those experiences, they were so much fun. Fun is effective because it's memorable. Kim, you know how important fun is too. All of us here know that fun is elemental. It's not ancillary. When we're having fun, we remember things better. The experience is stronger. Our efficacy of implementing what we learn is much higher because fun is fuel. The letter E, well, like one of my coaches says, be the power plant. Energy, my friends. For the letter E, be your power plant. That's from Brendan Burchard, one of my former coaches. When we bring our energy forward, first of all, it can be negative energy or it can be positive energy. Energy is energy. So which kind of energy are you going to choose? Are you going to use it positively? Are you going to use it another way? It's your choice. Energy is everywhere. It's everything. I'm not the scientist. I believe it. And when we practice positive energy, then we promote connection and more people are welcome and wanted at the table. More people sit at our tables and more people are involved. It's inclusive and diverse by its nature when we bring positive energy to the table. We're on the home stretch, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. We're at the letter D today for the ZYXs of connecting. D, let's talk about disconnection for a moment or 5, because disconnection is equally important when we use it intentionally. Here's what I mean by that. To disconnect is to detach, and to detach is to be set on a goal, have a vision, know what the dream is, and to be nimble, remember nimbility, in how we get there. We could get there lots of different ways. So to disconnect when something is not working, when there's friction and not traction, to disconnect from relationships that hold us back, that we let hold us back, can feel scary. It's also incredibly liberating. When we decide we're going to take that to-do list, we're going to put it in the recycling, and we're going to focus on what we are doing in this moment instead of this whole litany of things, and maybe guilt walks in the room. That's a total waste of energy. Then we focus on connecting with what works, with the quote, right stuff, with a nod to the 80s music. Disconnection, it can save your life. Detachment has certainly saved my life. I see them as synergistic when we are doing them with an intention of growth and positivity. The letter C, well, I could use the obvious one here. I'm going to choose communication today, because communication is connection. When we communicate, we are somehow transferring what is in our mind, our heart, our bodies into some sort of language, messaging. Maybe it's listening, maybe it's talking, maybe it's writing. It could be a lot of different things. Communication is key and core. It's one of the top consistent reasons people stay with any kind of group, organization, firm, association. It's also one of the top reasons people leave. I think, woo, right? Yeah. When communication breaks down or isn't built up, when it feels stilted or you're unsure, can I say this thing? Can I communicate this? Can I knock on that door? Can I send that email? Can I make that phone call? When we have that reticence, when we're unsure, when communication is on the rocks, woo, boy, everything else kind of fades away. If we want to focus on communication, where I would encourage you to focus, I'm focusing on this, is if you want to improve your communications in one way this year, focus on listening. Listening is the first opportunity for us to take in, to be communicated with. We used to be a way more auditory species. One of my favorite resources for listening and hearing is Julian Treasure. JulianTreasure.com. He's an amazing man, phenomenal research expert, sound and listening. His book, How to Be Heard, is in my permanent library. Just love his work. He's really helped me think about communication from the listening aspect. He also has 4 terrific TED Talks. So look him up if you're interested in amping up your listening, pun intended. Letter B, bountiful. The world, the universe, life is so plumb full of bounty. It's ours for the finding, to be a seeker, to be a connector. What is bountiful to you? You get to answer that. What's bountiful to me is that I can put the food on the table. I can treat my friends. I can do my best work. There's so much bounty. It's a very positive mindset. To me, it swirls upward, and it's so much fun to share the bounty too. Which brings us to the letter A, the ZYXs of connecting. We've worked through the alphabet. You've stuck with it. Thank you so much. Hopefully you've come up with a nugget or two of your own, as well as found some goodies today in this alphabet of connection. The letter A is what I will leave you with today. And I would challenge you in a loving, supported way to take action. To take action is to act, hence the root word. What is the action you're going to take, make, project, compel, propel, whatever you want to put on there with one of the words today? What's one action you can get into motion with to shift forward? What's one way you can support yourself, someone else, your team, your community, your association, your group, your clients, your family, your dog, your neighborhood? What is that? What's one action that you're going to take? Make that commitment and take it. ZYXs of connecting. Everybody who is here live gets a copy of this sent to email. I'll make sure that all of you who are here live get that today. If you're watching this and you want to get your own copy, you can go into gingerjohnson.com/subscribe. That gets you into our newsletter community, which is sporadic and chock full of usefulness when it comes out. Being right up front here. You can get your own copy that way. If there's ever a way I can serve you, to help you connect, to think about things, to noodle on anything, please reach out and let me know. ginger@gingerjohnson.com. I'd be delighted to do that. I'm going to ask Larry to bring up the music and the show, and I will stay here for those of you on live. If there's anything you want to bring up, talk about, share after the show has finished recording. So stay well, my friends. Make sure that you are always showing up at your table, taking good care of yourself. And remember that life is powered by connection.